David Spencer, Head of Crime and Justice at Policy Exchange, former Met Detective Chief Inspector. David, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I was watching with some incredulity yesterday the coverage of the Notting Hill Carnival, which to all intents and purposes you would think is a crime-free zone. You know, as far as the BBC and Sky are concerned, it's all about colourful people and great sort of costumes and amazing music, and it's great food, and you never mind the 450 people who got arrested, or the 2 stabbings, or all the sexual assaults and all the rest of it. What's going on?
Well, I think the first thing to say is all credit to the Metropolitan Police this weekend. As far as I can see, based on the information that's come out over the last couple of days, they've done a sterling job, which is hugely challenging policing operation. So 14,000 police officer shifts, 7,000 officers deployed over the course of the bank holiday weekend at Notting Hill Carnival. It's worth remembering as well, those 7,000 officers don't come from nowhere. They come from other parts of London, which are getting less policing in reality. But the police deployed live facial recognition. They deployed drone camera technology, as well as all these officers. The Met did a pretty sterling job this weekend, and that's one of the reasons that we're able to see the amount of serious violence down this year compared to last year. But the fact that serious violence is down doesn't mean that it didn't happen. As you say, we had 2 stabbings over the course of the bank holiday weekend in Notting Hill Carnival, and well over 400 arrests for people.
Well, it's a 6-year high, and you know, I take your point that the police have done a good job, but it's a very expensive way to police London, isn't it? I mean, it'd be a lot simpler if it didn't happen.
Well, the cost of policing, and just the policing alone, is about £12 million every Notting Hill Carnival.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot of money.
It's a huge sum of money. And that's before we even get to the amount of money that's spent by Westminster City Council, the Great London Authority, and the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, who again put millions into this. So a huge amount of public money is being spent on this. And there is a question over whether this should be public money that's being spent or whether this should be privately funded.
Yeah, well, I mean, they keep finding sort of ways of funding it, don't they? But inevitably, it's the public purse that gets raided every time there's a threat to its existence, because, of course, you know, it's part of our culture now, and we're supposed to all celebrate it. But one of the things that I found interesting was the way the Mail covered it this morning. And there's a picture of 2 women fighting in the street, and another woman arrested for apparently throwing a bottle of cider in a glass bottle at the police. And I wonder whether, you know, violence by women is up this year.
Well, I think it's probably too early to say definitively from the data, because the Met won't have broken that down yet, and we'll have to see what that looks like when the data comes out. I mean, the reality is that with over 1 million people, some report 2 million people on the streets of Notting Hill Carnival, the numbers are always a bit hazy, a bit contested. Then it's inevitable that there'll be male and female criminals out there operating at the carnival. It's almost inevitable.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, one of the things as well that Peter Blexley said, he was in the first hour of the show, he said that the final figures haven't actually come out. They won't come out until a bit later on today, because as far as we know, the various 423 arrests were up until about 8 p.m. last night.
Yeah, that's right. And we don't know definitively, as Peter says. That's completely correct. And one of the interesting things that's worth pointing out is that certainly my former policing colleagues will tell you that it is as the night falls on Bank Holiday Monday, so last night, that they really become concerned as people start to drift away. And obviously people have had the day with the drink and the drugs and other such things. As they're leaving the carnival, that's when people in policing start to get really worried.
Yeah.
So yes, although up to 8 o'clock yesterday we got the bulletin, it'll be interesting to see what's happened overnight, because I know that's where the police get really concerned that things could go awry.
No, of course. And what about the use of facial recognition? I mean, as you say, they would presumably credit this as a success, because they did manage to lift, I think, 52 people before the actual carnival itself started, and maybe some more after that. Does that mean that they're going to be using it more in general?
Well, I certainly hope they will in places like the Notting Hill Carnival, which big, massive operations, or as Policy Exchange has said before, in the hotspots of knife crime, then they certainly should be using live facial recognition. You've got to remember that what they're looking for there are people, and the people that will have been arrested over the weekend are people who are known criminals or people who are suspected of crimes. So that is what those systems are targeting. And the fact they were able to arrest 50 people over the course of the weekend through live facial recognition is absolutely a success for the system, a success for the police. So they should be using the system more.
Another story I just want to ask you about quickly. This came out from British Transport Police just late last night. Epidemic of violence and sexual offences against women on trains. The number of violent crimes against women and girls rose by 5% in the year to March 31st, while the number of sexual offences increased by 10%. And it says the figures paint a disturbing picture as passenger numbers rebound to pre-pandemic levels. Data shows most sexual offences take place during the evening rush hour period between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. on busy carriages.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who travels on our transport network, be that on the trains or the tubes, will be surprised at this. Some of the behaviour that you see on the transport network is disgusting. What's really troubling as well, when people step in to try and support victims and deal with these criminals, it's the risk that they may well be subject to prosecution themselves. And that's really troubling because the police can't be everywhere as much as we might like them to be. The police can't be everywhere. And so therefore, honest, good members of the public stepping in is sometimes going to be required. And the idea that they may be prosecuted or subject to some kind of investigation is really troubling, I think.
Yeah. Is there some reason why you couldn't put facial recognition on transport then?
No, I can't see any reason why there wouldn't be any problem with doing that, certainly. And maybe we could deal with the rampant fare dodging that way as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, that seems to be an ideal place to do it, because if you've seen people running through a barrier once, the next time they approach a barrier, surely somebody could do something to stop them.
Well, certainly something needs to be done on the fare dodging situation. Again, travelling the train and the tube network, as I know you will and I do, the reality is you just see this all of the time.
Yeah.
And the reality is, while every criminal, while every fare dodger may not be a criminal, every criminal does fare dodge. And so we need to get these people stopped and dealt with.
Right. And presumably if you are a fare dodger, you become a criminal, don't you? It's not,
well, quite right.
It's against the law. At the end of the day, they're all criminals. But there we are. There's too many of them, that's the thing. But we haven't got any place to lock them up. We'll just have to talk some more about this, David. Thank you very much indeed. Head of Crime and Justice at Policy Exchange, former Metropolitan Police Detective Chief Inspector, of course. Coming up.